Jeff, you ready?
Yep.
Okay. The public hearing on Ordinance 9308 is now open. Public hearing is a meeting that provides the opportunity for public discussion regarding ordinances and other matters pending before City Council. Today, Ordinance 9308 is at issue. Ordinance 9308 amends and adopts certain sections of Chapter 150, which is our city's zoning code. Interested parties may express their views and submit evidence supporting those views at this public hearing. The information shared will become part of the city's permanent record and may be used by the members of City Council in deciding whether or not to adopt the ordinance. There are usually 4 parts to our public hearings. The first is a staff report. The second is testimony from the applicant, if any. The third is public testimony, and the fourth is discussion by members of City Council. So we will begin with the staff report from Planning Director Heather Saylor.
Good evening. So this started back when council passed a moratorium on April 7th of this year, and it was for a resolution. I gave you a copy of that resolution for 6 months. It was to last for vape and smoke establishments. So after that happened, staff did do quite a bit of research on the topic, looking at other communities and best practices in their zoning codes on how they've handled this type of use. So once we did that research, we did bring it forth to Planning Commission. We introduced the topic on May 7th to the commission, and we have a presentation that you may have saw in one of the meeting minute packets, and I have a copy if you want to see that presentation again. So at that meeting, we did discuss and got feedback from the commission on the topic. And then in June 4th, the staff introduced text amendments regarding Chapter 150 of the zoning code on the topic. And again, we got feedback from the commission on that. After that meeting, we did make some very minor revisions based on their feedback. And then on their meeting on July 2nd, we reviewed those revisions, and they set the required public hearing for their August 6th meeting. And then they did forward the text amendments to council after that. So I gave you a copy of the proposed zoning code amendments to Chapter 150. Fairly simplified, I would say they are. We looked at adding tobacco or vape stores and then defined those, added it to the comprehensive use table. Based on Planning Commission's feedback, we made them conditional in commercial, interstate commerce, and central business zoning, and permitted in the IE innovation and employment zoning. We did look at a 1 mile, or proposing a 1 mile distance from other vape stores, and we modeled that after the marijuana ordinance, or the ORC, or Ohio Revised Code. We also are proposing a 1,000 feet from any school, university, public park, public library, place of religious assembly, child daycare center, or other use established specifically for the activities of minors. Also, based on Planning Commission feedback, we have proposed walk-up windows, drive-through windows, outdoor storage of merchandise or display of merchandise would not be permitted, and there would be hours of operation of 10 p.m. to 8 a.m., and that there would be clear signage posted at every public entrance, which must state the legal age of purchase, and that minors may not enter the premises unless accompanied by a parent or legal guardian. We also propose that signage within the windows be limited to no more than 25% of the surface area. There tends to be a lot of signage, LED lighting, neon tubing, and fiber optics that can be pretty bright when they're animated or flashing. And then also, we have said that, want to be specific about the stores that exist now, that they are, legal right now, or legal non-conforming, and that they would be permitted to operate unless they were stopped for at least a year, I believe it is, or 6 months. I can't remember. I have to look at the exact code. But whatever our legal non-conforming use section is, that those existing stores could continue to operate. And then we have a proposed definition, and again, in our research, we found a lot of different terminology for these types of uses, and so again, we tried to land on as simple and broad as possible. In your packet, I also gave you copies of the memos that went to Planning Commission, again, outlining the timeline of introduction to them and their feedback. I also included a copy of 2 maps made by our GIS department that Planning Commission had requested showing the buffers. So again, that 1-mile buffer and then the 1,000 feet from basically public types of uses. Gave you a copy of what we call the primary vape or smoke shops, and then a list of the secondary shops, again, just to kind of give a difference on what the definition would mean for a vape and smoke shop and how many are in the town now. And then gave you a copy of the moratorium or that resolution. And that's basically, again, very high level where we have been and where we are tonight at the public hearing.
Thanks, Heather. Jeff, do you have any questions for Heather at this time?
Not at this point.
Heather, I, really appreciated your work and your presentation, various presentations to Planning Commission with the various ways that other communities are regulating vape shops. I found all that research super helpful. And then I also really appreciated Planning Commission's thoughtful discussion on this topic. I guess I have 2 questions. The first, in this packet somewhere, which you just said is in here, the city had counted that there are 12 shops with a primary use as a tobacco or vape shop and 15 shops with that as a secondary use presently. So since, this moratorium went into effect 6 months ago, has anyone approached your office about opening a vape shop?
I did. I think it was about 2 weeks ago. We had a phone call of one wanting to open
Okay.
in the downtown, and we did tell them that they could not at this point because there was a moratorium intact. So, yeah.
Okay, that moratorium expires in a few days, correct?
Correct, yes.
Do you have that date? Do you know?
I believe it's October 8th, this
October 8th?
Wednesday.
I can do the math, I'm sorry. Yep, I believe you. Okay, and so my other question is right now we are, as proposed, the ordinance limits window signage to no more than 25% of window surface area. Am I right that right now we don't regulate window signage? How do we regulate window signage currently under our code?
So we currently do not have any regulations on the interior of windows.
Okay.
But we can handle flashing or blinking signs or animated. So that would be, I guess, one key thing to point out.
Okay, so then how will F operate the signage direction that is under the code that applies is generally applicable to the district or the zone will apply, and then there will be an additional level of regulation that caps window inside and outside at 25%,
Correct, just for this specific use.
just for this specific use.
Right.
Okay.
We just saw a pattern in other communities doing this same thing. And, just looking at the pictures of the type of use, you can see they seem to fully utilize the window space for that type of lighting and signage.
Okay. I think that's it for me right now. Jeff, did you have anything?
How did we settle on the limitation on hours of operation?
So we saw that in several other codes, and so we did introduce that to Planning Commission as an idea. I do think we had a couple members that were interested in the hours of operation, and no one decided to remove that from the suggested amendments. So I didn't hear any strong feelings either way.
That's it for me.
Okay. Thank you, Heather.
You're welcome.
So now we'll move to, the applicant here is, the zoning requests or zoning code changes have been requested by the city administration, so we have no applicant to address this today. We will hear any testimony from the public right now. Are there members of the public who would like to address the committee at this time? Or did we receive any correspondence, Jody?
We did not.
Okay. Okay. So then we'll move on to discussion by members of city council, if any. Jeff, any comments at this time?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. maybe later. I don't have anything at this time either. Thank you, Heather, for your participation. And this concludes the public hearing on ordinance 9308.